Oliver learns a trade. Oliver was now caned every day by Mr. Bumble. Oliver was becoming more and more anxious to get away from the workhouse. Mr. Gamfield, a chimney sweep, saw the notice offering £5 for taking away Oliver and came to see Mr. Limpkins, a parish official. I'll take Oliver and teach him to be the chimney sweep, he told Mr. Limpkins. It is a nasty trade, said Mr. Limpkins. Boys have been suffocated in chimneys. Mr. Gamfield was offered £3 to take Oliver away. Oliver was given clean clothes and some food. He was then taken to the magistrate for signing the papers of handing him over to the care of Mr. Gamfield. On the way to the magistrate, Mr. Bumble explained to Oliver that Mr. Gamfield was taking him as an apprentice. He will make a man out of you, he said. If the magistrate asks you, be sure to say that you will be happy to go with Mr. Gamfield. The magistrate, after talking to Mr. Gamfield, Mr. Bumble, and Mr. Limpkins, was about to sign the papers when he looked at Oliver. Oliver was looking with terror at Mr. Gamfield. The magistrate put his pen down. What is the matter? He asked, looking closely at Oliver. Please, sir, begged Oliver, weeping. Please don't hand me over to that dreadful man. The magistrate saw that Oliver was sick with fear and starvation. He tore up the papers and ordered Oliver to be taken back to the workhouse and to be treated better. Mr. Bumble one day happened to be talking to Mr. Sowerberry, an undertaker. He mentioned that he was looking for someone to take the boy Oliver off his hands and teach him a trade. So it was arranged, and Mr. Bumble took Oliver to the Sowerberry's house. He's so small and thin, commented Mrs. Sowerberry, the undertaker's wife. She added that children from the workhouse cost more to keep than they were worth. She asked the maid to bring some meat that was left by the dog after feeding. Oliver, starving practically from birth, fell upon the food eagerly and finished it with relish. Oliver's sleeping place was in a workroom filled with coffins and carpentry tools. It was dark, lonely, and to the small boy, frightening. In the morning, Oliver was wakened by the door being kicked open. You are the new boy, aren't you? Said the newcomer. Yes, sir, replied Oliver. I am Noah Claypole, and you will be working under me, said the newcomer. Noah was a rather grown-up, ill-tempered boy with a feeling of superiority over poor houseboys and orphans like Oliver. He took great pleasure in making fun of and insulting Oliver, but Oliver refused to react. Mr. Sowerberry took Oliver to the house of a dead woman. She was measured for a coffin, and the body was taken to the churchyard to be buried. Oliver was unfavorably impressed by the whole thing. You will get used to these things, said Mr. Sowerberry. One day, Noah, while annoying Oliver, began to insult his dead mother. Your mother was a regular bad woman, he said. It is good that she died, or she would have been hanged. Oliver, who had so far kept his temper, suddenly went mad with fury. He caught Noah's throat and threw him to the ground violently. Noah was taken aback. Oliver is murdering me. Help! He screamed. Mr. Sowerberry and the maid pulled Oliver and Noah apart. Oliver was dragged to the cellar and locked up. Mr. Bumble was summoned. It is lucky we are not all murdered in our beds, said Mrs. Sowerberry. Mr. Bumble arrived soon, and a little later, Mr. Sowerberry. Oliver was kicking and beating upon the cellar door. Finally, Mr. Bumble opened the door and Mr. Sowerberry caned and beat Oliver severely. Mr. Bumble advised the Sowerberries not to feed him anything except thin soup for a few days. Oliver was still in a fearful temper. That night he wept bitterly. Early next morning he opened his door quietly, crept out through the garden, and left the place forever.